My name is Karuana Gatimu, and I'm with Microsoft IT's Discovery and Collaboration Group, and you are watching SharePoint Television. I'm excited to be here today with two more luminaries from the SharePoint community. These segments you'll be able to see on SharePoint TV on Channel 36 in your room. We're going to talk today with Susan Lennon and Dr Raymond about community and specifically SharePoint Saturdays. And if you've never been to a SharePoint Saturday, you're absolutely missing out. This is an amazing conference that we have here, but to continue to keep the enthusiasm, meet people in your local area, and network with folks, SharePoint Saturdays are amazing. So Susan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I helped start SharePoint Saturday. We're going to be having the 5th one and kicking off our 5th year in January. I've been running a user group, SQL Server, for 17 years, wow, which kind of fed into our SharePoint user group, and from there, SharePoint Saturdays. So, and I work for Microsoft. I'm a senior consultant, Microsoft Consulting Services, working on the Navy team. So I've been at SharePoint probably for about 10 years, and had been doing code camps and that type of thing. And with Michael Lauder, we just sort of felt like we needed an area dedicated to SharePoint because the code camps were all dev, and we were looking for a venue to kind of break out. So
absolutely,
that was the start of SharePoint Saturday.
And one of the things is that the SharePoint community embraces everyone in every role, whether it's business administrators, developers, IT pros, administrators. I mean, we're all here, right?
And everywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
So that was another thing that we were trying to hit, was getting to areas that weren't very well served.
Right.
Right by places that Microsoft went frequently.
Absolutely.
So, like the Ozarks and Virginia Beach and Dubai and all kinds of other places.
Sri Lanka.
Right. Exactly,
Sri
Lanka, exactly.
So my name is Dr Raymond. I'm managing partner at Innovative E. And boy, it's just amazing how SharePoint Saturday has grown. I remember the very first event, Virginia Beach. I was there.
Tex was there, yep.
And we're like, yeah, we're going to do this Virginia Beach once a year. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
And talking about remote places, I have the opportunity to speak at a lot of these events, and one of the most memorable ones was in Sri Lanka, Colombo, Sri Lanka.
Wow.
Amazing country, beautiful country. But you talk about community, I just have to share this story, SharePoint Saturday and social. So the Sunday after SharePoint Saturday in Colombo, Sri Lanka, Michael Noel and I, another speaker, decided to do a road trip. We're going to go to ride elephants and see, the Temple of Buddha's Tooth.
Oh, that's great.
2 hours on the way, countryside Sri Lanka, middle of nowhere, our car broke down.
Oh no.
Car broke down, and fortunately there's a garage. So we were, kind of hanging out there fixing it, and Michael essentially tweeted, our car broke down, middle of nowhere in Sri Lanka, and it tagged the location, right? So send that tweet. I kid you not, 15 minutes later, somebody tweeted back and said, are you guys all right? My house is like down the block.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, who are you? I was at SharePoint Saturday yesterday. And you talk about social and the power of community. That was like a jaw-dropping, amazing experience.
It's unbelievable.
And for those not familiar with it, you got to check out SharePointSaturday.org. And there's a list of SharePoint Saturday events almost every week around the world, and it's free. It's totally free. Yes. And you get similar speakers and great content, so it's a great event and community.
And I'll jump in real quick. So
yes,
we're rebooting SharePoint Saturday. So SharePointSaturday.org is going to become SPSEvents.org. And so we're out here in the community floor, so we'll have flyers and business cards and things so you can find our new URL. And when it comes up, we'll put a redirect up. So SharePointSaturday.org will be SPSEvents.org. Probably kick it off in the new calendar year.
Yeah, and I've had an opportunity to be with all the folks who are so passionate about SharePoint Saturdays, and I'm really happy to be involved in that. But can you tell us, for the benefit of some of the viewers who might be new, can you give us some of fast facts about SharePoint Saturdays? How many have there been?
There's been hundreds. We've been worldwide now.
Right.
We've had about 150, I think, is Eric out there, 150-ish last year. So, and like I mentioned, worldwide. We're just finishing our 4th year. So this coming January, we'll kick off our 5th year and start a big 5th anniversary and do it up big. But like I mentioned earlier, it really is about getting to areas that have not been that well served, and also audiences that aren't that well served. You look at traditional training, it's dev or IT pro.
Correct.
Well, what about the business user? What about the project manager? What about the business user? In my area, teachers, and we have a lot of federal folks too. So it really is meant to serve each area uniquely. So my area is big on Navy, it's big on we have the city of Virginia Beach has 84 schools that uses SharePoint.
Right.
So we have a big interest there. But Ozarks would be different, Sri Lanka would be different. So it's meant to be unique to the community and the event, the area where it is, and serve that particular one.
Well, and the other thing too is, and just to make sure everybody's clear, attendees go to SharePoint Saturdays for free. They're sponsored events by many of the same people that you might find out here on our expo hall today. And so, we want to thank those people out in the community, those organizations who have supported SharePoint Saturdays around the world. Amazing vendors who come out. And remember folks, this is on a Saturday. We all put our time in, and it's something, Dex, that I know that you can talk a lot about in terms of, it does take away from maybe time with your family, but what do you feel like you get back from the SharePoint Saturday community and community in general?
So a couple of things. To me, it's more of a pay it forward. I mean, I've learned a lot from the greater community, and again, speakers don't get paid, organizers don't get paid. It's really for the love and the passion. I've been involved in a lot of technologies, but never seen the enthusiasm that the SharePoint community have. My closest analogy is Jimmy Buffett. If you guys are familiar with Jimmy Buffett,
parrot heads.
The parrot heads, they have nothing on the SharePoint community, nothing. So that's the closest analogy I have. And what do I get out of it? And like I said, I learn stuff as well. I get to meet people, I get to network with people. And SharePoint being so big and abstract and it could do a lot of things, I think this community has really helped in educating and really showing a lot of capabilities, and more importantly, what the business value that this platform provides, regardless of who you are.
Absolutely, and I think as we go forward, especially with the new technology, obviously this is a big year for Microsoft, it's a big year for SharePoint in general, and Office 365, SharePoint 2013. I think that now we have a real opportunity to help people drive adoption and to drive a deeper understanding, right, by networking with each other. I always found that so useful at the SharePoint Saturdays and other community events, right? So Susan, what do you think about the marriage also between SharePoint Saturdays and SharePoint user groups out there in the field?
Well, it's the key thing what drove SharePoint Saturdays to begin with. And we need to emphasize that more. And even at my own event, I often forget to drive, and I need Tasha or somebody to help remind me, don't forget Hampton Roads SQL Server SharePoint user group. But that's where a lot of them start. You don't have to have a local SharePoint user group to have a SharePoint Saturday event, but it's a good tie.
Yeah.
And it is about community, and it's about serving. And our new tagline is share your passion. Right, so
share your passion.
Yes.
I love that. Share your passion.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Tasha.
And really,
excellent. Way to go.
One thing I want to point out too, it's not limited to when you talk about community and sharing your passion. There's a lot of great initiatives at other SharePoint events where they actually do fundraisers.
Yep.
So for example, there's a couple events I know, one time did food drive. So just bring canned food, that's how you get in. And then that goes to like a Red Cross or
exactly.
some, charity that benefit. And I think that's really amazing. Where, we learn stuff about SharePoint, but more importantly, we can give back to the community.
Right, and sharing is the point,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Sharing
yeah,
is the point.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. I often tell people, we have to know how to collaborate with each other before we can use collaboration technology.
It is a collaborative tool.
It is a collaborative tool, and it's not just about, what workflow we can build today. It's also about us as people and the effect that we're having on each other. So yeah, I think that this is it's an amazing opportunity for sure. So tell us a little bit more about the rebranding, Susan, and when that's going to launch.
Well, we hope to launch in calendar year 2013. So the event that I run, SharePoint Saturday Virginia Beach, should be the first one that we'll have up on spsevents.org. So we have Bright Stars helping us with rebranding and customizing the dev part of it. So it should be a whole lot more friendly to those who are running events. Probably the attendees and people that use the events don't realize the pain, those of us who've suffered through the old site. So we had a lot of issues, but that's part of the rebranding, as is trying to be more transparent and let organizers know how to find us, that there's a board, it's not just a single person, and opened up those lines of communication. But definitely, I think we're finally getting noticed by Microsoft, right? So hopefully more folks will know about the SharePoint Saturday events, go to the website. A lot of us groupies of SharePoint Saturdays travel. I used to travel up and down the East Coast, but now I've been to Redmond. I get to go to Honolulu for SharePoint Saturday. So
very exciting.
Yeah, but you don't have to travel far, right. But just go to the website, see what might be in your area. But it's worth spending travel dollars to go because you're getting usually a breakfast and a lunch and sometimes raffle prizes. But ignoring all that, the content you get. Many of the speakers who are speaking here are also speakers at SharePoint Saturdays.
Yeah, I have to really say, not to review, I have to really say the quality of the speakers that I have experienced at all the SharePoint Saturdays I have been to has been excellent. And obviously this is SharePoint Conference, it's a big deal to have us all together, but not everybody can travel to come to SharePoint Conference all the way to Las Vegas. So if you want to increase your education and your understanding of what's going on in this industry, the SharePoint Saturdays are a great way to do it.
Particularly if you look at the tough economic times, right?
Right.
A lot of folks,
people have cut their travel budget.
Are training and conferences. But SharePoint Saturdays are free.
Absolutely.
So you might drive to one.
And what I'd like to add too is keep in mind that this is a great training ground for future speakers.
Exactly.
So anybody in the community, especially locally, I mean, they have a great story, they want to try out and at least get something going. I encourage and invite everyone to speak at a SharePoint Saturday.
So and it's kind of eclectic that way, with well-known speakers and then people trying to get their street creds. It's a good place to practice.
Absolutely, absolutely. And don't you think, and I was going to ask you a question about that in terms of, I feel that SharePoint Saturdays and events like that and SharePoint user groups are a great place to train and find the next generation of leaders in our community, right? Don't you agree with that, Dux?
Absolutely, because there's no way, I mean, you talk about collaboration and co-creation and growing grassroots effort. I mean, a lot of these events around the world are, they just say, hey, that was a great event. Can we do it here? Sure, why not?
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah, you don't have to be an expert to get involved in these community activities. This is the place where you learn how to do these things. And, I think it's an important part of career development in this industry as well.
Talking about career development, I can tell you a couple people saying, you know what, I put together a SharePoint Saturday event, I put in my resume, that's how I got my job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, exactly. It's absolutely true.
So there's true benefit, some people might, community, whatever,
Right.
But there's not only new skills to learn, but credibility to build. Especially
Absolutely.
now that Microsoft, again, is recognizing SharePoint Saturday is a great opportunity, and future employers can look it up.
Absolutely, that's so true.
And it is a good way to meet the sponsors, the vendors, the partners, those folks out there as well. So we wouldn't be able to have them without them.
Right. And I can tell you a couple people telling me, thank you for putting SharePoint Saturday, I found my job at a SharePoint Saturday.
Absolutely. The networking there is always tremendous. So I really want to thank both of you for coming out for our segment today. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to get to talk to everyone, and I think for our viewers to be able to find out these highlights on Channel 36 in their room. And now, and I didn't warn you about this, and I probably should have, I want to ask you one thing that people don't know about you.
All right.
So, okay, Dux, we'll go with you
Dux.
first.
One thing that people don't know, so in my previous life, I don't know if it's anything interesting, but I was in the furniture business.
Really?
Yes.
Furniture?
I ran furniture
I have no
stores.
idea.
I can tell you everything about furniture.
I needed you when I was decorating my house. Who knew? See, I should have tweeted you to find out the difference between all these different pieces. That's great.
So after SharePoint, my next career, I'll be opening a restaurant.
Good. I will come eat there. I'm sure it'll be delicious. All right, Susan, tell us something that people don't know about you.
I'm very transparent and I talk a lot, so people know about everything about me. I've been in IT for over 30 years, but I guess one of the things is I was in the first computer science graduating class at Old Dominion, so
wow.
I was like
that's
in the dark
amazing.
ages, yeah. And I got a degree in math too, so
that's
maybe
just
that's
fabulous.
different.
Well, and that's really inspiring also to all the women in this business, right? It's very important.
Which, speaking of, you want to know an indicator that we've arrived? Because I used to go to tech eds all the time and code camps. At a SharePoint conference, you actually have to wait in line in the women's bathroom.
Yes, you do.
At tech ed and others, you never have to wait. But at SharePoint, women have arrived, and
it's very great.
We have a place here.
And you'll be able to join us actually for a segment on women in SharePoint.
Not in the bathroom.
And we will have an opportunity to talk about that and how we're really trying to inspire other women to join this part of the industry.
And I got to tell you, without women, nobody will be dancing tomorrow.
Nobody will be dancing. That's really true. Or even later tonight, because we're going to be dancing even later tonight.
Possibly.
But definitely catch tomorrow.
That's right.
Big surprise coming.
It'll be excellent. So thank you so much. Thanks again for joining us for this episode of SharePoint Television.
Peace out.
Peace out. That's it. Excellent.
Thank you.